Welcome to the January 28, 2019 Administration and Public Works Committee. We have a quorum. May I have a motion for approval of the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Going to just read the consent calendar. A1, payroll, December 24, 2018 through January 6, 2018, $2,993,970.11 is for action. Bill A2, bills list, January 29, 2019, fiscal year 2018, $2,159,324.72. Bills list, January 29, 2019, $438,346.36. BMO credit card activity, period ending October 26, 2018, without Amazon, $182,884.62 is for action. I'm going to hold A4. A5, extension of intergovernmental agreement for 2019 refuge disposal fees to Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County. Staff recommends the City Council authorize the City Manager to execute an extension of the intergovernmental agreement for 2019 refuge disposal fees to Solid Waste Agency of Northern Cook County in the not to exceed amount of $750,000 for operations and maintenance transfer fees. Funding will be provided by the Solid Waste Fund, which has a budget of $750,000 for fiscal year 2019 is for action. A6, staff recommends City Council approval of the estimated annual user charge for 2019 with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago for disposal of sludge generated as part of the water treatment process in the amount of $154,304.18 for payments of $38,576.05 will be made beginning in February 2019 and ending November 2019. Funding for this work will be from the Water Fund. This account has a budget of $339,000 allocated for MWRDGC sludge disposal fees. That's for action. A7, staff recommends that City Council authorize the City Manager to execute a renewal of the annual sole source maintenance and support agreement for the term March 1st, 2019 through November 30th, 2019 with Harris Computer Systems for Harris North Star utility billing software in the amount of $35,767.39. Funding for this purchase will be from Water Fund, which has an allocation of $45,000 for this item. This is for action. A10, staff recommends City Council adopt Resolution 8R19 authorizing construction of Illinois state highways for years 2019-2020. A11, staff recommends City Council adopt Resolution 6R19 releasing certain closed session meeting minutes and finding that a need still exists for confidentiality as to other minutes. The city is furthering its efforts to provide access to information and openness in government through the appropriate release of closed session minutes of the City Council. It's for action. A14, staff recommends City Council adoption of Resolution 7R19 authorizing payments related to fiscal year 2019 capital improvement plan project expenditures up to $31,360,000 be reimbursed by the subsequent 2019 general obligation bond issuances for action. May I have a motion on the consent?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. A4, staff recommends City Council approval of the purchase of 10 vehicles for operation in the Police Department, Fire Department, and Facilities Management. The following vehicles will be purchased as stated in the amount of $102,567. Funding for the vehicles will be from the Equipment Replacement Fund in the amount of $315,618, which has a budget amount of $1,622,977. This expenditure represents 19.4% of this budget amount. It's for action. And I have questions about the vehicles that are being purchased and those that are going out of service, and how are we determining that we cannot continue to maintain those, and what is the need? What sort of services are being limited without the purchase of these new vehicles? Like, please help me understand the demand for $315,000 in vehicle purchases.
Sure. Madam Chair, members of the committee, Sean Cholick, Division Manager of Facilities and Fleet. The vehicles that we are purchasing are primarily police vehicles, fire vehicles, and some facilities vehicles. The reason why we're moving along some of these police department vehicles is because the wear and tear they get and the critical nature of the vehicles. So, for example, the police vehicles and the fire vehicles, they may idle a lot throughout the day. Every hour of idling time is equal to 30 miles, so that starts to add up on these cars. What we've done is we've evaluated everything we've got in the fleet, and we're repurposing a lot of these vehicles so that they're reused in other areas. For example, we've got parks and recreation. Every year we lease some vehicles for the summertime for them to do some work in the parks and on the beaches. For those vehicles that we rent for 6 months every year.
For example, like the parks is using vehicles to do what kind of work?
We've got 2 vans that they use. They bring their staff around. They pick up things on the beach. They clean things up, take care of the, cleaning up the restrooms, things like that. Mm-hmm. Those vehicles we rent for 6 months out of the year. And so what we can do by repurposing some of these vehicles that we have in PD, we can give those to Parks and Recreation to use over the summer and get a little more use out of them so that we're saving money. We estimate that we could save about $12,000 per year just by doing it that way for those Parks and Recreation vehicles. So the idea we have is to circulate some of the cars that are used a little more heavy duty in the beginning of their warranty period for police, fire, things like that. We use them the most at their warranty period. We take advantage of the warranty to get them fixed, and then towards the end of their lifespan, recirculate them and repurpose them into other departments.
Okay, so without the purchase of these vehicles, what services could we not provide?
So if we couldn't rely upon, we wouldn't have reliable services in PD. We would eliminate some vehicles if we didn't replace them. So that would cut down on emergency services. Same thing with the fire vehicle. We've got the battalion chief is using one of those vehicles for supplies and materials and things when he responds to different calls. One of the PD expeditions is it's going to be used for evidence technicians, so they've got to have enough room for their equipment and to be able to do their jobs. So it's things like that that would be affected if we didn't replace them.
Okay, any other comment? Alderman Fleming?
Yeah, so I also have some concerns. However, I see that on some of them we spent more money in repairs than we did for the purchase.
Correct.
I guess for another conversation, maybe with the chief of police and chief of fire department, I have some concerns about the idling. You mentioned the idling in terms of wear and tear, and I know I asked Chief Eddington about this last year when I went somewhere and there were lots of police cars and they all were idling. And I was told that that was a policy of the city, that they're allowed to leave the cars running. And so I guess I would like us to put that on the agenda for another day to just kind of revisit that policy if idling is really necessary. Obviously, we're paying gas. We're trying to get to, zero emissions and all these things in our city. And in this particular time, there had to be about 15 police cars in the summer that were idling with the air conditioning on and the windows up. So now, you're saying that also adds to the wear and tear.
Correct.
So I will approve these purchases, but I do have concerns about idling and if we need to do that all the time with so many cars on the street.
And we can definitely have discussions with PD and fire to revisit how maybe we can cut some of that down.
Thank you.
Alderman Suffredin?
So how do we calculate the in-house repairs? Is it the actual wages paid to the person doing it, or do we use a different?
Correct. So
placeholder number?
it's the labor, it's the materials. We figure all of that into there. Our software. When we make repairs to a vehicle, we log in the man hours that we spend for mechanics working on it, and then also the materials so that it calculates it all for
Okay,
us.
and that's at the actual pay rate, not like.
Correct.
And then how do we decide between a vendor? Do we do everything we can in-house, or do we send stuff out to vendor based on capacity?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on capacity. We try to do as much as we can in-house, especially on some of the some of the smaller vehicles. The more specialized equipment, fire trucks, some of the sweepers and garbage trucks, sometimes we have to send those out to get them serviced. But we try to do as much as we can in-house, and it works out pretty well. So.
All right, thank you.
Did our packet include a breakdown of what was in-house and what was performed by a vendor?
No, I don't think it was broken down like that.
Okay. Could you?
I can see if there's a way to separate that out.
Could you? Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments? All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
Oh, yeah. We didn't vote? Okay. Okay. I thought we did that first.
So I'll move, what do we need to do?
Just move approval.
Oh, okay, I'll make the motion.
May I have a second? Yes.
Yeah, we did.
There was, but apparently there wasn't. So,
It was not.
can you second it?
Second.
Thank you.
I don't.
Thank you. So we're good now? Okay. Got it. Items for consideration. A3, BMO Amazon credit card activity, period ending October 26, 2018, $14,154.98 is for action.
Second.
Second. A3. We have a second, yeah. Do I have to- All in favor? Any opposed?
I abstain.
Any of? Thank you. Motion passes with one abstaining, Alderman Suffredin. A8, Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item A8. It's a contract with CDM Smith, Inc. For the water plant evaluation, and that's going to be in the dollar amount of $191,653. A lot of money.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? A8 passes. Alderman Fleming, A9.
Yeah, I move A9, contract with Wangney Group for Sherman Plaza Garage Lighting Upgrade. The staff recommends City Council authorize the city manager to execute a contract for the Sherman Plaza Garage Lighting Upgrade with Wangney Group in the amount of $334,618. Funding is available from the parking fund, which has a balance of $650,000, all of which is remaining. This is for action.
Can we, I just want to check something in the packet. Can we just hold that for a moment while I reread something and then we come back to it, please?
I had discussion also, so can we get a second, or what should we do?
Your prerogative. I mean, I just have to go back and read something, so if you want to give me a moment to read, or if you want to come back to it at the back end of the agenda, will be
Okay.
my request.
All right, I'll come back to it.
Thank you, Chair.
A12, Alderman Rainey.
Did we do A10?
Holding it.
No.
A10.
IDOT, did we do IDOT construction?
810 is on consent.
That's in the consent agenda.
Oh, okay. So we're on A12. right?
A12.
Okay, A12, all right, just 1 second. Step here. A12 is Resolution 9R19, approving a settlement and release of all claims in the Lawrence Crosby versus the City of Evanston et al. Staff is recommending adoption of this resolution, and it's a settlement payment pursuant to an agreement and release in the Cosby versus City of Evanston case, number 16 LO 10029. I move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's a whole lot of money.
It's not
Alderman
as much as it could have been.
Alderman Fleming?
I have a statement, but maybe it should be at the full council. I imagine some of our other peers might have a statement, so I'll wait for that.
Any other discussion for committee? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? A12 passes. A13, Alderman Suffredin.
A13 is Resolution 2R19, a grant agreement with Amita St. Francis Hospital to receive funding for the Mobile Integrated Healthcare Program for Action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? A13 passes. We'll go back to A9. Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Who's responsible for this one? Erica?
Laura Biggs, Dave Stonebeck.
So when I was reading through this, I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted a little bit more information. So $300,000 for lights is a lot of money. And typically, if someone's looking to upgrade lighting, there should be some type of schedule, I think, to show what the savings is going to be, calculated savings for that kind of spend. And that's what I felt like was missing from the packet. So
It's a lighting budget.
I don't know if I'm to the point to hold this up. I guess it depends if anyone else has a question, but that's what I would love to see. Like, how much are we saving over a period of years by upgrading to these lights? Otherwise, yeah, I'd like to see that. And I'm surprised. I'm sure that you received it when they submitted their bid, and maybe it just didn't make the packet.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Erica Storley, Assistant City Manager. I actually have a lot of information about that. There's the lights that are in there, they've been in there since 2013. We got a grant from the state to put those lights in, and as with all technologies that evolve, VHS versus beta,
Sure.
who's going to win? The light fixtures that we put in at that time are no longer available. LEDs are all over the place. We've already lost about 20% of those lights, and we cannot replace them. So staff is playing a cat and mouse game of every time a light goes out, take one from another place, put it over there so that you don't have huge gaps without any light, and then light other places. So if you drive through the garage, you'll notice they're out here and there, but they're not in a concentrated place because we've been doing this sort of game. So that presents a sense of urgency. We're also replacing the cameras in this garage. That will be coming to you in the next couple of months. So we want to make sure that there's adequate lighting so that security cameras can function as appropriate. We're switching to the LEDs. We imagine that there's going to be a 20-year lifespan of the fixtures, and the return on the investment is 7 years. So we've already realized a pretty good reduction in electricity costs just going to the fixtures that we've had for the last 5 years, but that will be exponentially better with the LEDs, and with the reduction in the electrical costs, subtracting the cost of replacing them from year 7 to year approximately 20, if they last that long, will be all much, much better.
So I take your word for it, and I'm assuming that somewhere in your laptop, you can just shoot me that between now and City Council. I'd love to be able to read that, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Need a second?
Oh, I can second. Oh, sorry.
Aye.
I'll, did you want to say something, Alderman
Am I
Rainey?
late on?
It's these lights aren't working,
Oh,
so if
I'm
somebody
sorry.
could fix that. Alderman Rainey?
Yes, Madam Chair, and Ms. Storley, do we share any of these costs with the residential component of the Sherman Avenue garage?
We do. There is a cost share between us and the condo association, through their reserves, pays for their portion of the lights that cover their area.
All right, so can you tell us what portion of this they're paying?
I don't have that information, but I can get it to you before the council meeting tonight.
Okay, but there is some cost sharing here.
There is an agreement between us and them that shows the percentage that they pay for their portion of the garage versus our portion of the garage.
Thank you.
Should we just hold this over to council until we get the questions answers, or is it your pleasure to move it along?
It goes to the city council anyway, so,
Yeah.
I mean, why would, just send it there if they don't
Have it
want to
then.
support it.
Perfect.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
I thought
support
Alderman-
sending it to the council for them to vote on
Alderman
it.
Rainey seconded. Alderman Rainey seconded.
Yeah, I did.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, oh, no, okay. Motion passes with Alderman Suffredin opposed. We have an item for discussion. We had no public comment today. We have APW 1. At the January 14th, 2019 Administration and Public Works meeting, the committee discussed a purchase made by the City Clerk's Office for assistance with grant writing. It was requested this matter return to the next committee meeting for further discussion. Clerk, thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm here to answer any questions. There is a memo that we want to submit for the next meeting. We had one of the issues that we've had with applying for some of these grants is with the government shutdown, the IRS was not open, and we were unable to get a 4076C affirmation of instrumentality, which is a government information letter that proves that we are a government entity, which means that we're eligible for some of these grants. So we wanted to be able to give the full picture within the written memo, but what I can say today is that we are applying for several grants. All of them are up to $25,000. The grants are relating to civic engagement, particularly our work in increasing voter participation here in the city. We've also applied for some grants we're also looking into grants that will help us create a civics coding program within the clerk's office. And so those were what the grants are relating to. They are Telegen Community Initiative for up to $25,000. There's a Walmart Foundation grant for up to $25,000, as well as U.S. Trust Illinois for up to $25,000. Those are the three grants that we are currently looking at, and we are interested in pursuing others.
Have you submitted any of them, or you're in the process?
Grants, yeah, we're in the process of submitting for the grants. As I said, the issue has been most of the grants came up that we identified during the government shutdown or right before it, and we were unable to get the 4076C designation.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you. So you'll present a written memo?
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Clerk. Any communications?
I would just like to make the referral, or make sure it's an actual referral, what I mentioned earlier about the policy for the idling cars. If we could have some clarification on what the policy is and a discussion at APNW at another time.
Okay. We have that? Thank you. Clerk Reed? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
KPW,
Pardon?
P&D. Just have to.
I move adjournment.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay.